What's up, everybody? FSC Trucking. Well, in this box right here I got in the back of the dually, we've got the key of what cures Orwell. Let's get at it. Once again, Orwell is back in the shop, and what happened in the previous video is that this diaphragm had gone out on it. I've got the replacement parts for it right here. Diaphragm's real simple. Air fuel controlled diaphragm is what failed in Orwell, I'm pretty sure. Without it, when this boost pressure doesn't open up the fuel injectors rack, for lack of a better term, open full, that's how it controls the amount of fuel. That way you don't just go to full throttle and no boost, you just overload the fuel and roll the coal like never before. So that's what failed. That's why Orwell had such a trouble with the last load. So we were thankful that we had Carol, our escort, that did the job for us, and it worked out really well. However, coming back as slow as we would be going if we had a load, I would have had no flags, no banners, no strobes, no nothing. So we deadheaded all the way back here to the shop, went to Caterpillar. I ordered the parts while we were out because when it happened, I wasn't sure what was happening to it. And I figured it out, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and order the parts. Apparently, it's a fairly common problem with a 3406B, or probably any mechanical cat for that matter. So with that, let's go ahead and get started on fixing it. I also might add that I started sanding down the hood of Snow White. We got one half down to bare steel, the other, obviously, we didn't. So I did start on that the other day. A little here, a little there, seems to get the job done. You know, how do you eat an elephant? Well, the answer is one bite at a time. So that's how we're gonna tackle the Suburban. Also, the dually, I just got back from a truck supply shop not far from here. I ordered a back rack for the dually, and I got pricing and availability on light bars for the dually. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the back rack on the back and put two 17-inch light bars on the top that can be taken off and removed as needed, but more of a permanent mount. I don't like the magnet mount idea. They did have a suction cup thing, but it might blow off the truck, and I didn't want to deal with that. So also I can mount a better CB antenna on the back rack, or stick with my magnet mount like I did the last time on the Gentry haul. As far as the haters, hey, you're gonna really hate now because we're gonna do it more and more. So that's how it goes. Either way, we got a couple weeks to match, so we got to get this truck running. I'd like to run a round or two before match happens. I don't plan on bringing Orwell to match. The plan is we're bringing the Hemi dually and the big trailer with the Razor, and meeting my son afterwards, after match, to go play around with the Jeep. And then we might be going to Tennessee. I'm not really sure. But Gentry's got a bunch of stuff coming up, and I got a bunch of stuff coming up. And honestly, by the time you saw this, Max is probably already dead and gone in the past, in the books. But we'll see. I'm not really sure. Either way, let's go ahead and get this working on Orwell again video started. Let's get into it. What's up, boys and girls? Steve here. Hey, listen, Chris started working here like about 2 weeks ago, and let me tell you, one thing I've figured out real quick that we're missing around here is work shirts. Why? Well, answer's real simple. Ask Jen. Ask any of your wives or girlfriends or whoever does the laundry in the house. Laundry, that's the problem. The average t-shirt just doesn't cut the mustard for the hard-working blue-collar person in your world. So with that, we've released FSC Trucking work shirts now. So it's real simple. Black shirt, patch in the front, logo, FSC Trucking right there on the side. In the back, big old shop logo in gray on a black shirt. Now that looks good. Now think about it, boys and girls. We needed Chris here long ago. When Chris showed up here, the one thing I realized is we just don't have no work shirts for him. So I went ahead and ordered me and Chris a bunch of work shirts, so we're pre-ordering them for you guys as well. So between now and May 21-ish, give or take a few days, we're gonna be taking pre-orders for the work shirts. It's real simple. I put in a basic order, just like I did with the Godfather shirt. Put in a basic order for them, and right before they go to production, we're gonna alter the amounts to match what the pre-orders were. And then of course, some more extras, we're gonna sell them beyond just the pre-order. So with that, again, check out FSCTrucking.com. Get your all new FSC Trucking work shirts available. Pre-order, FSCTrucking.com. Check it out. Well, alrighty, boys and girls, I got the cab jacked back up again, just like we had the last time. So, obviously that's why it's Cabover, because the engine's under the cab, right? Cabover engine, CLE, whichever. Anyway, I'll show you what this device is and what it does. The way this engine functions, if you didn't see the other video, is that the air comes off the turbo up into this manifold, and there's an aftercooler in here. The air goes through and into the head. So this is the head, this is the aftercooler housing. There's a core inside that looks like a radiator. But if you notice, there's a tube that comes off the bottom of the housing with pressurized turbocharged air, and it goes down and over here to this device, which is on the back of the governor housing. The governor housing, here's your throttle. This electric solenoid right here, this rust-colored thing, is the fuel shut-off. That's what shuts the engine off. But this here is what meters the fuel ratio, as in how much fuel to throw in versus how much boost pressure it has, by this tube. And in here is some kind of a diaphragm, which no longer functions. In fact, it's blowing the boost right out of the engine somewhere, somehow. This problem started when I was in around Berwick, Pennsylvania. Probably closer to Lamar, Pennsylvania. But anyway, about halfway across PA. Now, this is for you automatic transmission guys. Sorry, not to be insulting, but you know, if you don't know how to shift, you won't know why it failed. So you're losing speed, losing RPM. You throw your thumb valve on your shifter, and it come off the throttle, and it hit the throttle, and that'll downshift half a gear. So once I hit the throttle, it came up, the boost came up, and then blam, it dropped right down. But it felt like it felt literally like the throttle had just fallen off the truck, which honestly I thought is what happened. I thought the linkage just fell off the governor. But then it started pulling again, but it wouldn't give me over like 10, 11, 12 pounds boost. And I'm like, what in the hell's going on? I thought it was a fuel starvation problem. It wasn't starving for fuel. I had just replaced the fuel filters, the water separator and the filter, in the full service we did just prior to leaving when we had the whole engine apart. I did the full service, so couldn't have been fuel filters. And I've had fuel filters jam up where the engine stumbles, stalls, or tries to stall, misfires. That's fuel starvation. It wasn't starving for fuel. In fact, it was acting like it wasn't giving me all the throttle. The reason why it was seemingly not giving me all the throttle was that diaphragm had went. So apparently when I had done that downshift, come off the throttle, when I had thrown the air valve, come off the throttle, the boost pressure came down, then hit the throttle again. The boost pressure climbed up, and that one cycle from low boost to high boost blew that diaphragm, and then it dropped to where the engine will only give you minimum throttle with where it would be set with no boost. The turbo is fine. There's no boost leak. It's just not giving me fuel, which basically is because the injectors aren't opening because the diaphragm isn't opening them. That's basically how it works. So while I was in Maine, I went and ordered from Caterpillar the necessary components to go ahead and do this job. And there's also an update to it. So we have a gasket, the diaphragm itself. Apparently each thing is its own little thing. So gasket, diaphragm. That's it for that bag. There's an update to this. So there's this housing. Don't know why or how. It did not come in instructions, sadly, with the housing. There's a O-ring, another O-ring, another O-ring. Now this is for an unrelated job. This is the Jake brake contact switch that works off the throttle. That's why you always see me manually throwing the Jake brake. There's an updated spring that needs to be replaced. Another updated spring that needs to be replaced. And there's a spring cup. I think these are all just these are all order slips and receipts. Soup to nuts, everything having to do, like I said, the Jake brake and everything. This was, I think, around $100 total. And this was, believe it or not, I think another couple $100 for a switch. But then again, Aftercooler was $4,400. So now we got to figure out how this all works. without a book, because the book shows you how to rebuild the old one, not to do the new one. So we're going to have to just figure it out. But there we are, all our new components for this job. Hopefully it goes easy. So now I'm looking at the parts. I'm taking a closer look at it. This here, I think, is that replacement housing. So this is going to get completely replaced. I think we keep this, replace that, and there's your line that goes into it. I think that's basically how it works. I don't know. In one way I look at it, I'm like, hey, this could be a disaster. In another way, I'm like, all right, well, it could go good. Look, worst case scenario, I have to do a road service and have Caterpillar come and fix what I break, or I'll take the whole thing off and send it out to be rebuilt. That could always be it too. But I don't want to do that. I just want to get it running so I can run the truck a little bit and then get ready to go to Matt's because, well, we got a lot of stuff I want to do. It's an old truck life for me. It's an old truck life for me. Everything is old breaking. A half inch to, yeah, that's a half inch. Probably 7/16. I don't remember. Maybe it's a flange. G over at Cat thought it might be O-rings. I guess the book called for an O-ring somewhere on this. It's a job requirement. Those that know, know. Alright, there's no O-rings in there. It's just flanges. Yeah, see, there's no O-rings. Might be an O-ring in there, though. Alright, well, that comes off. This is just a charge line. Tells you how much boost goes through it. That's it. Put that over here. Do I have to take it going? Nope. Not unhooked. It did unhook. Okay, there you are. That's the unit right there. I didn't know if it was going to come out, but it did. Alright, I don't know how it hooks in, but that's where we got. Well, alrighty, there's your component. One bolt. That bolt, that won't come out because I left a piece in there. Go ahead and pop that loose if it'll go. Seems awful tight. Alright, it went. There's your O-ring. Alright, I don't know how that works now. I've done a few of them. We'll demonstrate that when we take it apart. Okay, so those are those two. A little bit of that safety wire. Let me try putting the light on there for you. I put the light on, hopefully that'll work a little nicer for you. They're all 7/16. Alright, that one's got to be a wrench socket will fit on there. Now, I looked up on a video. I didn't watch the whole thing. I probably should have. But you look this stuff up on YouTube, at least prior to me doing this job. The video goes to YouTube channel J Paydirt. He was working on like a piece of construction equipment, and he changed one of these to a different type. But from the video, it looked like, again, I should have watched the video like more thoroughly. But he was working on a piece of equipment that looked more like my A model back on the other side of the shop there. Take that washer off. Yep, that comes out. Opens up. Okay, so this air goes into here, compressed air goes into here. Oh, what is this? You notice that piece just laying there, doing nothing? I don't know what that does, but it's just there. And this gets shoved in, I guess. Again, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just taking it apart, figuring it out as we go. Some probably say that's a bad idea. But that piece, I'll show you on camera. See? I don't know what that does, or if that's a part of a component rather than the component itself. So I'm hoping that taking this all apart and replacing these components will solve my problem. And again, this being, ooh, that's trying to pop apart. Y'all see that? You hold it together. Ooh, that's a lot of this big spring in there, boys and girls. A little hefty. Okay, those springs, those two are a different length than these two. That all expands outward like so. There's your illustrated parts blow up. Literally, poof! Housing, spring, spring, cup. I don't know if there's an O-ring in that or not. Kind of looks like it. Let's take it out, fish it in and see. Yeah, that feels like a seal. Like a piston, see? Probably just an oil seal. Maybe, I don't know. But that part didn't come with the kit, so we might have to go back to Caterpillar and get that. Yeah, that's a rubber part. Let me wipe that down so you can see it. Everything's oily. I probably could just put it all back together as is. Okay, so there are ports in here. There's a C-clip or a spring clip in there. I don't know if you can see that or not. See? Right there. So that can come apart too. Alright, so that goes in there like so. And your spring, cup, spring, spring. Here's your diaphragm. So let's do it like this. Put that in there. I know I wiped it. We're gonna dirty it again. Great. It's clean. It doesn't want to go back together. It goes in there. Then the spring. Then the cup. The spring. This, I think, is the spring that gets replaced, one of them. Let's put this spring here. Now look at that, boys and girls. See this? What is this? There's a spring in there. See? So that. There's a spring inside it. And there's your diaphragm. Looking for like an obvious tear. Right there. Right there. See it? I tore it more, but I don't know if you can see that or not. Right there. See? Right there? There's the tear. That's where it blew out. So that's the fail item right there. Now how do you get that out of there? It's sandwiched in there. That spring, it does come out. The spring went against that button right there. That there, see? I know, it's not the best. Spring went in there like that. How does this thing come apart? Imagine that comes apart. That probably is an adjustment. I'm sure one of the noise you hear in the background is the battery charger running. Jen was cleaning Matt and Lydia's Suburban and let the battery die. She left the light on the inside. Not a big deal. 7/16, so that's probably 3/8 then. Break that loose. I don't know how else that comes out other than that. I don't see a clip, spring, threads, nothing. Alrighty, so going off the parts book, it's part number 9, that little piston seal. Part number 9 is 8 November 5763, and I just got off the phone with G at Caterpillar, and that is a valid part number. That is good for, that is the current part number. It's not superseded, and that's basically the blow up of what we're dealing with. Again, this is a parts book that I got. It's a really old one, but it works. Alright, so continuing on, we have to figure this piece out, how that all works, with the changeover to the new housing. This has to come apart. So I'm assuming that comes out. Alright, I didn't get my wrench for that. That is 3/8. So I love this old American stuff. I know I got a lot of subscribers from other countries, but I was born in the 70s here in the United States. Everything in the United States was fractional versus everywhere else is metric. I know metric system is easier, but it's not the system I learned on. So it's not really easier if it's not the system you learned. And I'll be honest with you, maybe it's just American pride, but I still prefer things in fractions. Just, oh, that was almost loose. That took nothing to break loose. Okay, so, wait, what? I didn't have to take that off at all. All right, don't touch the adjustment. Just sock it down. I didn't turn that piece there at all. So let's not kill it. Let's just snug it. That's it. That didn't even have to come off. I feel stupid. So that comes off. And then the diaphragm just lifts. So I guess that's the adjustment as to how much fuel your engine gets. Right there. But you can't get at it easy. You got to take it apart. So I don't plan on messing with any of that, boys and girls. The engine ran fine the way it was. Leave it alone. Okay. So that goes there. Next. This spring came out. Spring gets replaced. Let's just put this in there like so. Spring cup. Spring. And that goes in there. How does that come out? Looks like it just threads out. Put a wrench on that, spin it, threads in. The new one, that's how it's made. It looks like threads. Why does it look identical? Do you see a difference in there, boys and girls? I don't see a damn bit of difference. Maybe this update was done. Whatever. Alrighty, I broke it loose by crossing 2 screwdrivers and wedging it and taking the box end of the wrench and popping it loose. And then the whole thing threads out. But that's a jam nut. That is not a solid piece. So I didn't fudge around with the adjustment much, if any. So we'll just thread the other one back in as it was, if there was an adjustment. It's close. Alright, that's locked down. Okay, so that goes there. New diaphragm has to go in there. That's the old one. Spring can be replaced. That spring gets replaced. There's your plunger. There's your spring. That comes out like so. Goes in like that. Your piston. Snap ring. That comes out with a snap ring. That's how you get this seal out. Now I got to go to Caterpillar to get one. Apparently it is a little spring loaded. There we go. Snap ring. Spring that loads it, two of them, like washers. I don't know if that's part. Is that the whole thing, or does that come apart? Well, let's not mess with it until I get the new one. Alrighty, boys and girls, fresh back from Caterpillar. There you go. Here's your new piston seal. I don't know what else you call it, but a piston seal. So apparently it's just the rubber part. It doesn't come with the plastic piece. So I imagine it'll fish out relatively easy. Hard as a damn rock. Just cut it with the pick. There you go. Yep, slice it off. Just note the direction of it. See, it's facing that way. Lip faces up. So there we go. It's got to go on the same manner. I can see that being a real easy mistake to make. By the look of things, there was no need to take it off the plunger, now was there? No, not in the least. Alrighty. That goes on like so. One of the springs. The other spring. Then the split ring. Oh, perfect. All right. I can see the ring's closed up, so that's in there good and solid. Perfect. All right, it took a little ingenuity to get that together on camera or off camera, but I got it in there. I just wrapped the paper around it because it seals from the pressure going this way is what it does. So it's hard to close that seal in to push it in. So I got her figured. So that spring goes in. Then the cup, that's where that spring goes in, which gets replaced. So that spring is here. So this all comes out as a unit. That spring goes inside that hole. Alright, so I think the easiest way to do it is just launch that spring across the shop. It'll be very hard to find. Put the flat blade screwdriver down. Well, now the spring's crooked. Now it's straight. Yep, that did it. Okay. The spring is on. Now we got new spring for this. That spring there. That over there for garbage. So that spring seems to fit in there just nice. Alright, it's a different one. That goes in there. That goes like that. So the diaphragm goes there. This goes in there like so. Okay, that's the update right there. See the difference? This goes in there and it rattles loose. That goes in that way. See that piece right there? And like so. Then your new spring. There's your old one, right? You see how that fits tight on that piece of diaphragm there? The new diaphragm is different size. So it sits in there like so. Then your spring cup. Then your housing. So let's hold it upright. Let's hold it upright. They show you putting it together in a vise. We don't have that luxury. I'm noticing no gasket came out of here, or O-ring. There isn't one stuck on the housing. I'm being quite silly. I forgot like a ding-dong. So I'll show it to you fast. Take the spring out. The diaphragm seals in there. The diaphragm is the gasket, see? Diaphragm goes in there. It gets seated. The seal is made between this piece pushing against it, the spring pushing it together, and squeezed between this housing and this housing. So it goes together all like so. In theory. Yep, I screwed up already. That piston came out. And it's a pain to get it to go in. What I did, it was with paper. So on camera now, I'll show you how I did it. I wrapped paper around it. Don't need quite that much. The idea is to use the paper to funnel the O-ring into the cylinder itself. It worked once, maybe lightning will strike twice. It's a low buck method to a problem. Lightning ain't striking twice on that one. There we go. Ah, now the paper broke loose. There we go. Alrighty, now that that's reset, make sure as best I can I got all the paper out. Alright, so now housing, spring, there's already piston in there. That's where oil pressure, I believe, comes through one of these lines. I don't think that's what those O-rings are. It is what those O-rings are. We'll get to that. So yeah, oil pressure builds up in there. That's why the seal pushes out that way, because the pressure tries to make it come back away from the engine. So the spring goes in, your cup. This component here goes inside the piston that we put inside this housing. It will fight us, but there it is. So that goes together. Your big spring. That's your diaphragm there, obviously. Is there a clock for this thing? Just want to check one thing. How this hooks in. That way, no. That way, yes. Okay, so that's how it goes. All right, let's try it again. All as one unit. All together. Well, not all together. That gets in the way. All right. That goes in. Diaphragm in the hole, fingers, housing. What I'm actually going to do is start the bolts. See, now that the bolts are threaded, I could see it close together properly. Tighten the one. Sink them down. Excellent. Now there is an O-ring that goes in here. I already fished it out. There's this O-ring. And then there's another one here. There's also another one right here. Four O-rings in this unit. Let's go see if I have them all. Okay, let's put that aside. Look at our O-rings. That's the O-ring for the oil seal around it. I'm assuming yellows are probably feed, those are drains, I'm guessing. Let's check our O-rings, see what we got. We have that one. That one. It looks like that would more fit here. We're going to keep him in his package for the part number. It doesn't look right. This O-ring doesn't fit any of them. It looks closer for here. Looks like we're going back to Caterpillar. That's all the O-rings we have. We have one gasket. Pressure switch. Back to Cat, looks like.